Ever pondered where radioactive boars might be found? If you're conjuring images of post-apocalyptic landscapes or sci-fi movie scenes, you might be surprised to learn that this isn't a product of science fiction. Radioactive boars are a very real phenomenon in our world today. Typically, these boars inhabit regions that have been riddled with high levels of radiation. This could be areas near nuclear power plants or places that have experienced radiation leaks or nuclear disasters. Now, you may be wondering, how do these boars become radioactive? Well, it often comes down to their diet and the environment in which they live. Boars, being omnivores, consume a variety of food, some of which may be contaminated by radioactive particles. Similarly, the environment they inhabit can also be a source of radioactive exposure. So it turns out, radioactive boars are more than just a quirky sci-fi concept. But what exactly is radioactivity, and why should we care? Radioactivity, in its simplest form, is the process where unstable atoms release energy or particles. These emissions are what we call radiation. Now, every atom desires stability, and those that aren't stable naturally attempt to achieve this state by releasing radiation. Now picture this, organisms like boars, for instance, living in areas with high levels of radiation. They consume contaminated food and water, leading to an accumulation of radioactive particles in their bodies. Over time, these boars become radioactive themselves. But why does this matter to us? Well, aside from the fact that it's not great for the boars, it also poses a significant risk to other animals, and yes, humans too. Consuming a radioactive boar, or even just coming into contact with it, can lead to radiation sickness. Radioactivity isn't just about glowing green substances in science labs, it's a serious concern for our ecosystems. So, how does this radioactivity affect our four-legged friends, the boars? Let's delve into that. The impact of radiation on boars is quite complex and multifaceted. It's not just about potential health effects, but also changes in their behavior. Boars exposed to radiation may experience alterations in their physical growth, reproductive abilities, and overall lifespan. Radiation can also lead to genetic mutations, which can be passed down to future generations. But here's the kicker. These boars often show no immediate signs of radiation sickness. Imagine that. They may seem perfectly healthy on the outside, but internally, they could be fighting a losing battle with radiation. This lack of visible symptoms makes it incredibly difficult to identify and manage radioactive individuals. In essence, we're dealing with invisible enemies. This stealthy aspect of radiation makes it even more challenging to control the spread among the boar populations. Radioactivity in boars is a silent but potentially deadly issue. Where on Earth are these radioactive hotspots, you might ask? Well, let's dive into it. Firstly, we cannot overlook areas with a history of nuclear accidents. Chernobyl and Fukushima immediately spring to mind. In the aftermath of these disasters, wild boars have been found with high levels of radioactivity. These creatures, robust and adaptable, have thrived in the abandoned landscapes, ingesting radioactive materials that have permeated the soil and vegetation. Then there are regions with naturally high radiation levels. Places like Ramsar, Iran, which boasts some of the highest naturally occurring radiation levels on Earth. Here too, boars have been found with elevated radioactivity, a testament to the resilient nature of these animals and the pervasive presence of radiation. These hotspots, scattered across the globe, show us how far-reaching the impacts of radiation can be. They remind us that our actions have consequences that ripple across ecosystems. Radioactive boars are a surprising but important indicator of radiation levels worldwide.